What's going on, people? What's happening? Happy Thursday, Tuesday? It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well. If you are new here, I'm in a good mood, and I don't know why I'm in a good mood, because nothing's really happening that's exciting in the world of Manchester United. It's just another day, another decision, still imminent, still pending, still no outgoings. We're still waiting on outgoings, but we got a lot to talk about, because obviously the biggest topic of conversation right now is Sesko, Watkins, Watkins, Sesko, Sesko, Watkins, Watkins, Sesko. Who do you guys want? Who do you guys want? Because I put out a tweet earlier today, basically saying, like, yo, United fans, chat to me, man. Take into consideration, the sell-on value, Premier League experience, all of that stuff. Who you having? And a lot of people said in the response, there was a lot of Ollie Watkins, but also I think it's like 60-40. I'm going to say it's about 60-40 from the responses that I've kind of gone through. And it's very interesting, because I thought it would be an Ollie Watkins by landslide. But I think Benjamin Sesko is that shiny new toy, coming from a different unknown league. Not unknown league, but like it's not the Premier League. It's a league that's out of the spotlight in comparison to other European leagues. I feel like there's a bigger spotlight sometimes on La Liga, etc. And also the price tag. I feel like people just assume big price tag equals cash money, they're going to be a good player. And that's not necessarily always the case, but we're going to talk about it. And there's a video dropping on the channel later today, just comparing the two and really which one I think Manchester United should go for. I did something similar as well when we were linked to Gyökeres and Victor Osimhen. Obviously, neither of those transpired into any signing for Manchester United. But we're going to talk about so much, because we're going to talk about Sesko, we're going to talk about Watkins, but we're also going to talk about outgoings. We're going to talk about Garnacho. We're going to talk about Man United's goalkeeper situation. We're also going to talk about some comments from Laurie Whitwell talking about specifically Sesko. Now, I'm not gonna lie, guys, a big part of me thinks the whole Benjamin Sesko to United thing, I think it's agent driven. I feel like it's agent driven, because I don't know how many people have actually watched Benjamin Sesko. I don't know how many people have actually watched Benjamin Sesko. I've watched him quite a bit, especially in that season. Well, I watch a lot of football, guys. That's one thing that are going to learn about me. I watch a lot of football, but also I watched him quite a bit, especially up against like Bayer Leverkusen, because when it comes to the German league, I tend to watch the big games. When it's Dortmund, Frankfurt, Leipzig, Bayern Munich, Bayer Leverkusen, etc. When those five are playing, maybe Stuttgart, I will watch those games when they're playing against other big sixes over there. And he's never wowed me. Benjamin Sesko has never wowed me. I think actually Patrick Schick has had a better legacy as a striker in the Bundesliga than Sesko. But with saying that, Sesko is about 22 years old. Like he's quite young, still inexperienced, still learning in the role, there's nothing wrong with that. But we're going to talk about that in detail. Big up to Pyramid Scheme in the chat. Minna, Watkins for 45 million. What do you think? We're going to talk about that in detail now. Chalaboy says, I'm leaning Watkins. Paul says, I don't want Sesko. That's all I know. Georgie's saying Sesko, Sesko, Sesko. Big up to Josh as well. Big up SLD. Let's get into it, man. Let's hold on. Let me put up a picture of the both of them here, kind of outlining Manchester United striker situation. I'm not saying we should go for Patrick Schick. I'm just saying that between the two of them, we know who has had the better time as a striker in the Bundesliga. Now, I've seen a thing where a lot of people, when they're speaking about Benjamin Sesko, it's talking about, you know, we, number one, need a striker better than Højlund. Let's not, and I say this all the time, guys, let's not use Rasmus Højlund as the benchmark, because we'll find a lot of strikers better than Rasmus Højlund. Now, reports suggest that Manchester United had been in for Benjamin Sesko before he actually joined the Red Bull setup, guys. Fun fact, Laurie Whitwell has actually confirmed that on the Stretford paddock. He obviously, if you ain't checked out that video, go check it out. But Laurie Whitwell has confirmed on the Stretford paddock that Manchester United have been tracking Benjamin Sesko for many, many years, back when he was 16 years old, before he even joined any of the Red Bull setups. At the time, Man United offered a 1.1 million euro transfer fee for him. RB Salzburg ended up offering 2 million euros, and he ended up going to Salzburg. They again reportedly looked at him in the season that we brought Rasmus Højlund, or actually the season before we brought Rasmus Højlund, in Erik ten Hag's first season. It was reported that we looked at him. But reportedly, and this is what Laurie Whitwell is saying, sources said to him that Benjamin Sesko didn't feel comfortable with joining Manchester United at the time as the starting number 9, because he didn't want the pressure, and he felt like the best move would actually to go from Salzburg to Leipzig. Now, we know also he confirmed that Arsenal were looking at him, but because of the financial expectations and in terms of like salary, etc., it never turned into anything beneficial. He also went on to say, when you look at the cost of the deal, he didn't really exactly tear it up in the Bundesliga last season. It's similar numbers to what he was doing the previous season. He's 22, he's still young. There's obviously scope there. It's just that maybe for the fee requested and the transfer, you'd want something more than that. And I think that kind of sums up the Benjamin Sesko thing in a nutshell. It's a whole load of, it's a gamble. It is a gamble because it's reported that, RB Leipzig want about, they're pushing for 75, 80 million. So it is a gamble. And Manchester United, in my opinion, have taken a gamble before on a striker. And it's not the same. It's not completely the same, because he's actually done more in his career, in my opinion, albeit slightly older than what Rasmus Højlund was when we brought him from Atalanta. But Man United have already taken that gamble in a situation where they pay a big fee for a striker that they hope becomes what the potential is, what the data metrics kind of suggest. I am not for that all the time. Like in my opinion, when it comes to like midfielders, etc., I don't mind taking the gamble when it comes to the data metrics. But when it comes to the striker, I just feel like you always have to get someone that is, it can be in the firing line. Now, there's one thing that really kind of intrigues me between Benjamin Sesko and Ollie Watkins. It's this thing right here. Look at this graph here, and this is the goals that they've scored, and then these are the chances that they've had. Now, the lighter shade is off target, if you look and see, and the darker shade is on target. Now, Benjamin Sesko scores from a lot of places. You see here, comparative wise, it's not the same because it's two different leagues, but last season, 16 goals, 8 assists versus 13 goals and 5 assists. Yeah. But I would just say one thing. Look at where Ollie Watkins occupies and look at where Benjamin Sesko occupies. And then you have to look at it and think, okay, who is going to be a more natural fit for Mbeumo, Cunha, etc. Bruno Fernandes, if you want to even say that, even hell, if you want to say Joshua Zirkzee. Who will be the more natural fit? Because what this says to me, and it's not just, I don't need to see it in graphical form, but I think graphical form tends to help. This tells me that Ollie Watkins is more of a box striker, runs in behind, occupies the box, gets into threatening positions. Yeah. Benjamin Sesko is not a like-for-like striker. And I'm not saying all strikers have to be, glued to the box 24/7, but I think Man United need a striker that can do that. I think Man United's striker situation leans more towards, or what they should lean more towards, is someone who is a fox in the box. That's what people like to say, a fox in the box. I want to see what you lot are actually saying in the chat. bring in Mateta, brother. I don't think that's gonna happen. I genuinely don't think that's happened. Players like Sesko, you buy when your number one striker is 2 years from leaving, retiring. So what are you saying? Like someone like Bayern Munich should be looking at buying Sesko. Not saying that Kane is retiring, but he might be leaving in a couple of years. I think Harry Kane will come back to England to get that striker record, that goal scoring record. So what are you saying? A team like Harry Kane and Bayern Munich should be looking at him. Let me see what else you lot are saying. We can't have both Sesko and Højlund. I do think Sesko and Højlund are quite similar, not per se, because Højlund couldn't hit a barn door even if the door was right in his face. Just tailor the midfield, and Mbeumo, Cunha, and Zexi can score goals for now. Pyramids, leave me and my stats alone, man. Leave me and my stats alone. Yusuf says no more gambles. Let's stick with Højlund and make our midfield better. Is it not a gamble if we stick with Højlund? Who was at United when Sesko first was linked to United? What strikers? Well, it would have been 6 years ago. So who was our strikers 6 years ago? 6 years ago was 2019. Who the hell was our striker then? That was Cavani? I think Cavani was our striker then, and Martial. Those were our strikers. That was the first time he was linked to Manchester United. Benjamin Sesko scored 4 goals in about 8 appearances in the UCL. There were 3 games he started when he didn't register a goal in Champions League. In addition, Leipzig crashed out from UCL in the group stages. I think it's kind of hard to judge your opinion on Benjamin Sesko based on how Leipzig do in the Champions League. Leipzig are not a prolific they're not proficient and prolific in the Champions League. They're not known to get to the semis or the quarters, etc. But they are known to play relatively decent football. And I think Leipzig of recent has been different to maybe what we've been accustomed to in the last couple of years. I definitely think there's a change in the way that they play. Darren says Sesko doesn't fit at all unless we think we can develop him into a different type of player. This is the key thing, yeah. And Darren mentions it here. Develop. We can't develop players for every position, and that's why I think, like, you look at, for example, Man United's backline. Yeah, you've got the balance of experience and young defenders. You've got Mazraoui, you've got Dillit, you've got Leacher, you've got Harry Maguire. Then you've got the likes of Lenny Euro, you've got Aiden Heaven. And then you got, Patrick Dorgu, Diego Leon, etc. Midfield is another similar situation where you got the experience, but you also got the younger age. Up front, in my opinion, strikers can't be the main guy and be young and inexperienced. That is just my opinion. And I think I made a video about this like early into the season when Rasmus Højlund was struggling. And I said, at Manchester United, you do not get the luxury of patience as a striker. Every other position, I think you get the luxury of patience. But up front, I don't think so. Because when you have Man United that have not scored 60 plus goals in the Premier League for 3 or 4 seasons straight, you can see that there's a problem. You can see that there's a problem that needs to be addressed. If Manchester United could not string together consistent possession in the midfield, we would question what the hell is going on with that midfield. So we should be questioning it as well, what the hell is going on with that front line. Yes, the entire team kind of chip in to goals, 100%. You got your midfielders chipping in. You got your sometimes centre-backs chipping in. We've seen it with Harry Maguire. But I think the bulk of your goals are coming from your front line. And if you've got a striker situation where, guys, can I just show you lot this as well? If you lot don't know by now, get to know. I love data. I love data, guys. I love data. So I'm always going to show you lot data when we're comparing strikers. And the reason why I'm showing you this, because this shows you, number one, what Manchester United has missed out on because of all the other strikers that are on the market, but also what each of them kind of offer. And I think we should use this data and these stats as the benchmark. We shouldn't use Rasmus Højlund as the benchmark. I think we should be using the Osimhens and the Gyökereses and Alexander Isak. Hell, I should have put Haaland in this as well. But we should be using that as the benchmark when it comes to strikers. Because yes, they are playing in the same position, different leagues, etc. But I think the expectation is the same. Yes, I'm a data merchant, guys. I'm a data merchant. What can I say? I did my master's in something that required me to use data a lot. I love data. I love data, guys. I love Excel. I love spreadsheets. I love just numbers and graphs. Oh my God. I absolutely hated, when I was doing my master's, I had a module which was like, it was like financial management or something, but it was like data metrics. And oh my God, I hated it. It was the first time in my life that I was like, why do I have to learn formulas to figure out data? I'm lying. I hated data when it came to my master's. But when it comes to assessing stuff and comparing stuff, I like data. I like data. I'm not gonna lie. And I think it also gives us a kind of vivid picture, because right now we can say go off of eye test, but I think the best metric for comparing players is eye test and data. It's about how you balance it. Now look at Gyökeres, Osimhen, Isak. They are the top of the top. They're the cream of the crop, if you want to say that. And by the way, all of these strikers, except for Ollie Watkins and Isak, all of them are playing in different leagues. You know, Gyökeres was playing in the Portuguese league, Osimhen was playing in the Turkish league, Sesko is playing in the German league, and then you got two players in the English Premier League. Numbers in terms of matches, I don't want to go off of solely like, oh, the number of games they played, blah blah blah, but let's look at their shots per game and their shots on target per game, because that will allow us to get a slightly better understanding. Now in terms of goals, all competitions last season, we already know who's running away with that. Gyökeres is. Look at Sesko and Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins had slightly lower numbers. He was injured a little bit. At one point he got dropped for John Duran, if you guys remember, and then when Marcus Rashford came in, he got dropped at one point as well. So there were times where he wasn't starting as regularly, playing as regularly, and I think that kind of contributed to it. However, with saying that, double-digit goals and assists, 26 GA in the season out of 42 games, I think is still decent. You look at the other side and you look at Benjamin Sesko, you know, that's 23 GA. Look at 23 GA, where it's predominantly more so goals than assists. And the scoring frequency, I mean, Ollie Watkins, games to goals and the frequency, you guys see it here. It takes him way longer last season to score goals in comparison to Sesko. And by the way, I'm comparing specifically those two. The other three are just there to show us what we can't have. Shots per game is interesting because they have Ollie Watkins actually has slightly more shots per game than him. However, when it comes to shots on target per game, it's pretty much the same. And then you look at the conversion rate. Look at the conversion rate and the difference in the conversion rate. This is very interesting to me. Ollie Watkins' conversion rate stands at 14%. That's quite low for a striker. I might have to add Chris Wood and Mateta, you know, I might have to do that. But the reason why I did this, because I just thought this is better to look at, because this is like comparing the cream of the crop to what we're linked to. There's no point in me looking at Chris Wood and Mateta because we're not actually linked to them, and they aren't the best of strikers in European football right now. But if you don't want me to do that, I'll definitely look to do that. But goal conversion is 14%. And big chance conversion, this is where I think, statistically, I'm not going to lie, guys, Benjamin Sesko blows Ollie Watkins out of the water. Like, and that is why they're not valued at the same price. And I'm glad that Man United do not value them at the same price either. Big up to Ali with the super chat, says, Mina, I'm not qualified to scout players, but surely there are more options available at 45 to 60 million with a month of the window left. Ali, thank you so much for the super chat, first and foremost. Secondly, I agree. I'm sure there's definitely strikers available, but also I think strikers don't come cheap anymore. Unfortunately, I don't think footballers are really affordable anymore. I think everybody got a starting price of 50 million if you're lucky, and then if you, because like, you know, a player like Sesko, 75, 70 million, 80 million, whatever, you pay 20 million more, you get that young kid from Porto, Samu, can't remember what his surname is. I think he chooses to go by a different surname, but he's got 100 million release clause. Players are not cheap anymore, unfortunately, and Manchester United find themselves in a position where they are trying to go for cheaper. They're not trying to go for cheaper. I think they're trying to be more affordable with their strikers. But we're in an inflated market now where everyone is going for 60 million plus. And then you've got Man United trying to battle it out. We're saying we got 45 million. 45 million is going to buy you someone's left leg at best. Do you get it? 50 is going to buy you someone's left leg at best. Let me see what else you guys are saying in the chat. Stats need to align with the eye test for me. Who do they play with? Football playing style, what's club expectations, club investment? I think data I think actually data gives you a better chance at looking at what that player is like for what they are. And the reason why I say that is because I think you get a better insight into when it comes to data and stats into, you know, what a player can do for themselves, and it's not necessarily linked to what the team does for them in that moment. Anybody that's decent has a starting price tag of 45 to 50 million. That's the current market. It's very sad. Balogun's conversion rate is 39.5%. Is that the Balogun that is at Monaco, right? I think he's at Monaco. But yeah, so if you look at this and then you look at big chance conversion, and this is where, again, like I said, Sesko kind of blows Ollie Watkins out of the water when it comes to big chances. And we know about big chances, right, as United fans, guys, because we've watched Man United miss a heap of big chances. It's ridiculous. It's a joke at this point. 45% conversion rate when it comes to big chances is only Gyökeres and I think Haaland that has better conversion rates out of most strikers, and Alexander is okay, so that's quite a few of them. But to have near enough to a 1 out of 2 big chance conversion rate, I think is not that bad. Damn, those birds on my flipping roof are so flipping loud. What the hell? Ollie Watkins on the other side. One thing I will say, just from watching Ollie Watkins, and I think we kind of probably are more privy to the opinion of Ollie Watkins, probably because he's in the Premier League, so we probably watch him and see him a lot more. He misses a lot of chances, but he creates a lot as well. And I think that's one thing that data doesn't capture. I think he creates quite a lot of chances, not just for himself, but just from him being there, you know, creates opportunities for his teammates. And you have to also take into consideration, I think, how Aston Villa changed their approach to the latter stages of the season. I think they played less with him, and we're trying to switch it up a little bit. Now, if we talk about quickly just damn, I can't believe this might be Man United's reality. If we could just quickly talk about Ollie Watkins firstly. Laurie Whitwell has confirmed this morning that Manchester United have narrowed down their search to the two of these guys, Ollie Watkins and Benjamin Sesko. He's also ruled out a move for Nicholas Jackson, but that's mainly due to the cost. Chelsea are asking for some extortionate price for Nicholas Jackson. United held talks with Sesko, but due to the finances required, talks have now taken place to establish a potential deal elsewhere. And the same has occurred with the Ollie Watkins move. Now, if y'all didn't know, obviously, they played together, Brian and Mbeumo. Brian and Mbeumo looks the same. I feel like he has not changed. I don't know. Do you guys think he still looks pretty much the same? I think maybe it's just the hair slightly, but everything else, he still pretty much looks the same. Ollie Watkins and obviously Brian and Mbeumo played together. And Laurie Whitwell went on with his opinion again. And this is on the Stretford Paddock. So I encourage you lot to go check that out. Check out that interview that they did together. He said, I think with the negotiations or conversations, they are still ongoing. We touched on others that could be in the reckoning for Ollie Watkins at Aston Villa. So it's not just United that are looking at him. There's other teams that are potentially looking at him. He's got Premier League experience. It's just that Aston Villa are saying he's not for sale. They kind of said the same thing in January when Arsenal were potentially invested in him and were invited to make a proposal. So it kind of complicated everything. So Arsenal were interested in him in January, and Aston Villa kind of shut it down. He went on to say that there's been checks and calls to see what a sort of deal would look like. Aston Villa are saying he's not for sale doesn't mean he's not for sale. Liverpool said the same thing about Luis Diaz and they agreed a deal for him. It's just about the perimeters of your negotiations. I've seen different numbers flying around, by the way. I've seen different numbers flying around. I've seen 45, I've seen 50, I've seen 60. I've seen people quoting different price tags for Ollie Watkins. And I've also seen a price tag that has said 60 million plus is what Aston Villa want for him. I want to say one thing though. 45 to 60 is a huge metric. Like to say between 45, that's a big metric, I think, number one. Number two, I don't think you get better for 45, 50 million in terms of I'm trying to think of all the positive and the negative factors. The negative factors of signing Ollie Watkins is that you don't always necessarily translate into being a good player just because you're Premier League proven. Mason Mount didn't, Sanchez didn't. Number one. So that's my first concern. But also, there's also to say there's no guarantee that you invest in potential and the potential becomes, confirmed. There's a risk in that as well. So there's a risk either way, I think. But with Ollie Watkins, I would say, is that you get the now. You get 2 to 3 years of a striker. You can invest maybe in Chido, give him some guidance. It also might leave room for a player like Rasmus Højlund to remain at Manchester United, where Rasmus Højlund could be second, third in charge. And I'm saying that with the anticipation that there's a pathway for Chido Obi into the first team. So that's my second point. And my third point is that he comes to Manchester United and he's just washed. Anyway, it's possible. Either side is possible. But then you look at it on the flip side. And what is making me lean more towards Ollie Watkins is that he has Premier League experience. I think we underappreciate how much Premier League experience means, because it means that you don't have to wait for 6 to 9 months for your striker to adapt to the league. He doesn't need to adapt to the physicality of the league. He doesn't need to adapt to the pace of the league because he's been here for quite some time. He's played in different setups as well since his time in the Premier League. So it's quite adaptable or adjustable, if you want to say that. That's my first point. My second point is I'm with the notion that with Mbeumo and Cunha, that your striker is just going to be needed to be in the box. That is what I am trying to believe. When I look at the way that Gyökeres was playing at Sporting, I felt like it was more so running the channels and just darting into the box than it was having all-rounded play. Just this, again, let me just bring back up this thing here. All these shots that you're taking out from outside of the box in terms of Sesko, and if you lot just joined the live or you didn't see this earlier, this is just a shot map of Ollie Watkins and Benjamin Sesko in their seasons, in their respected seasons. And you just look at what is more for me a traditional natural striker, number nine. And that's for me this guy here. That because that just means a lot of his shots are coming from inside of the box because he's always inside of the box. The goals are the stars. Yes, the stars are goals. The dark circles are shots on target, and the lighter circles are shots off target. So if I just zoom in for you lot here, if we just focus on one each. This is Ollie Watkins right here. And you see all the furthest goal that he scored last season or had an assist for is around here, just on the edge of the box. He's a striker that just is a box presence. Like I said earlier, fox in the box. You look at the other side, look at Benjamin Sesko. It's quite, I think, not hurried. What's the right term that I'm trying to find? It's like all over the place. It's a little bit all over the place, in my opinion, Benjamin Sesko. I would look at this and think, if I saw this shot map or even like a heat map, I would think, what position does this person play? What position does he play? Because I think this speaks of someone who's a second. This gives me second striker vibes. It gives me second striker vibes. Let me just bring up a direct comparison because I know people are eating this up. This is a direct conversion. Now, this is 2 seasons worth of data, guys. This is 2 seasons worth of data, yeah? So, of course, Ollie Watkins has played way more minutes than Benjamin Sesko. So, it kind of slightly skews it. Shot conversion, percentage-wise. Again, Sesko comes out on top. Total shots per 90, Ollie Watkins comes out on top. Chances created, and this is what I was speaking about earlier, is chances created. Not just the fact that he creates chances for himself, but he creates chances for his teammates. I think that's a very important thing. Expected goals per 90, obviously, I think we'll expect Ollie Watkins to come out on top, but goals per 90 is where Benjamin Sesko comes out on top. Now, let's actually just go through this. I'm going to go through the comments quickly, and then we're going to go through this article. Neil says, feel like Sesko is more clinical. I think Sesko is a different, I think they're both different number 9s. And trying to compare the two directly is like me trying to compare a tomato and an apple. It's not really the same. It's different depending on what you're going to eat. If I'm having a salad, I'm going to have a tomato. If I'm having a fruit salad, I'm going to have an apple. So I think when I'm trying to compare them, that's how I feel. But also, I think the most important thing is looking at what exactly does Manchester United need for a striker. What exactly is it that Manchester United need? Do Manchester United need a all-rounded number 9 that is, capable of driving with the ball, similar to Mbeumo and Cunha, and capable of making runs behind, running their channels? Do you want someone who's tall and, fast? Do you want someone who you're happy to edge of the box? You got Bruno that's already going to be firing shots from the edge of the box. Do you want a striker that's going to also take those chances too? Or would you rather a number 9 that is going to be back against the wall against the centre backs, and basically trying to take them out of the game so that people like Mbeumo, Cunha, etc. have more space and freedom to navigate in the final third? I think that's the most important thing, trying to understand. And it's very difficult to figure out what United want as a striker, because when we had Joshua Zirkzee, we played in one way. And when we had Højlund up top, we played in another way. I don't think we've had anybody that really plays in the way that Sesko does. I genuinely don't think we've had a striker or a forward that plays the way that Benjamin Sesko does. So it's very hard to kind of predict or imagine or envision what Man United would look like if Benjamin Sesko was playing there. Let me see what else you lot are saying in the chat. Watkins is able to find chances at goal in small spaces. That's a skill on its own. Amorim needs a striker who can hold up. Is hold up play what United need for their strikers? Minna, get your Sesko kit ready to support. You know what's crazy? Oh my god. Who gave these kids in the garden outside a karaoke machine at 4 p.m. in the afternoon? Oh my god. Oh my god, guys. Oh my god. If you lot are new here, by the way, in the summertime, in our garden, there's always kids in the block playing there, and it's just a madness. Lately, they've been doing a madness. The weather's too nice. I get it. They're not indoors. They're not stuck to iPads and TVs, etc. But damn, like a karaoke machine. Like, really? A karaoke machine? I can't even focus, guys. I might have to close my window because I can't focus. Oh my days. Oh my days, bro. I'm actually going to complain to their parents. I'm going to tell their parents, like, yo, like, I get it. It's your kids and they're playing in the garden. Don't bother me. It's just the fact that this is a work time. Like, there's probably people in my block that like work from home and everything. They shouldn't be doing that. Oh. Okay, let's get back to more important. Call the feds. What do you think I am, Josh? Why would I call the feds on the kids in the garden? I'm not going to report them for noise complaints, because trust me, when I got family over, guys, and my family come over when I host a games night, my family we'd be playing Mafia until like 6 a.m, screaming the flat down. And they don't ever call police on me, and they never come and knock on my door saying, can you keep the noise down? So, when they are lenient for me, I have to be lenient to them. That's it. And I have good relationships with my neighbors. They're actually really lovely people. They're all lovely, lovely people. But when I be making noise, some days, guys, it's like 11 in the night and I'm blending something. They don't come and knock on my door and complain and be like, yo, sometimes I'm hoovering at midnight. They don't knock on my door and say, yo, can you turn that off? Because you see, me, I would have done that. If my neighbor was hoovering at midnight, I'm calling the police on you. I'm actually calling, because that should be illegal. It should be illegal to hoover at that time of the night. Anyways, let's get back to the football talk. Zirkzee will play similar to Sesko, but this time he has quality around him. Watkins is what United wanted from Højlund. Why are you hoovering at midnight? You can hoover at any time. What is there a time to hoover, guys? It's like saying there's a time to blend. There's no time to blend. I'll blend stuff whenever I want. If I want to make myself a shake, I will blend. I will use my blender. I remember back in the day when my mum wouldn't let us turn on the washing machine past 8 o'clock. Do you know how annoying it was? Because my mum is always conscious of neighbors and that. So she'd always be like, that's too loud. Like the washing machine is loud. Don't turn it on. If it's past 8 o'clock, I'm like, but what if I want to wash my clothes for tomorrow morning? She'd be like, don't. No, you should wash your clothes in the day. Because I'm not allowed to turn on we would not be allowed to turn on the dishwasher, it was why midnight? You guys don't ever get the urge to start cleaning your house at like 11 o'clock? Like, do you guys clean at a set time during the day? Like, sometimes I'll be lazy all day and then 10 p.m. will kick in and suddenly I just got a blast of energy and I'm like, you know what? Let me start hoovering. Let me start doing this. Let me start doing that. I don't think there's any time. Like, now I don't hoover anymore at midnight. But like, for example, if it's Eid tomorrow and I need to tidy my house because it's Eid tomorrow, I'm not going to wait until the morning to hoover. I'm going to hoover in the night before Eid. So I can put up my new curtains, put down my new carpet, put up some Eid decorations. I never clean, got people for that. You guys are getting on to me for what I just said. But Pyramid Scheme just said, I never clean. I got people for that. Must be nice. You get a new carpet for Eid, yeah. I think it's tradition. I don't know why. I just always grew up and we used to get new carpet, new curtains for Eid. So now I try to do that every Eid. Have a new carpet, just make the house feel a bit special in it because it's Eid. Minute eats breakfast at 9 a.m. Not really. A rug, yeah, not like actual carpet on the like entire floor. A rug because my floor is like wood. So yeah, I put a rug down. Anyways, let's get back into the Sesko talk. Make sure you hit the like button. How many likes we on? We're only on 62 likes, which is absolutely diabolical. Because how are we on 62 likes and there's nearly double that? There's nearly double you lot here, and we are only on 62 likes. Now, side note, it's not related to this. I am dropping a video. I'm gonna drop a video later this week. I don't know if you lot are interested in this because it's not United related, but it's basically related to the best wonder kids that have had a transfer this summer. So I'm kind of giving you lot a heads up on players to watch out for this season who are wonder kids. Excuse me. So if that's something of interest to you, let me know. Because sometimes people only want to watch United content. Sometimes people want to watch any sort of football content. So if you lot are interested in top 5 wonder kids to watch out for that have had a summer transfer, let me know because the video is there. I just need to edit it and do the thumbnail. Don't say minute on youth watch. Please don't say that. They're all over 19. Well, most of them are. I think they're all over 18. They're all over 18. And that just sounds weird. So make sure you lot hit the like button. Anyways, at least let's try to get the stream today to 100 likes. If you want to join the membership club, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content. Of course, you get to support the growth of the channel. If you want to support the channel in alternative ways, you can by sending in super chats with your comments, with your thoughts, with your questions, or just to show some love. We got a super chat goal on the stream here today. And of course, like I say all the time, it helps us reach the goal and it helps us improve the quality of the content that we put out here every single day. You lot are actually moving mad in the chat. I should just end the stream right now. I should just end it right now. So I was talking about what Laurie Whitwell was talking about earlier today, and it's from the transfer sheet. So the transfer sheet is a report that is put out every single Tuesday on The Athletic, and it goes into detail about pretty much most clubs and just transfer news in general. But there's a section here on Manchester United, and it talks about Benjamin Sesko. Now, it states, number one, that Sesko is not certain to leave RB Leipzig this summer when he signed a new contract. So he signed a new contract last summer when he was linked to Arsenal. I don't know if you remember, but he signed a new deal, and I think he gave him a little bumper with also not a transfer clause, but like a gentleman's agreement for a price tag. So when he signed that new contract in 2024, it came with certain understandings, which one of it was, if any club offered between 80 million to 90 million euros, Leipzig would allow him to leave. Now, I'm shocked at that. 80 to 90 millions is a lot. Now, with also the expectation that Xavi Simons will probably be leaving and he will probably be joining Chelsea. It could be unlikely that they look to let both of them leave. Now, Xavi Simons is leaving for 70 million euros. 70 million euros. And by the way, they brought him, when was it? In January? I think it was the January window. They brought him on a permanent because he had been on loan for nearly 2 seasons or so. And they brought him on a permanent. I think, I'm not going to lie, out of the 2 strikers that United are linked to, who do you lot think Man United are going to end up with, first and foremost, before I go into my opinion of who I think we're going to end up with? I have a weird feeling we might even end up with neither. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like both price tags are a lot for both players. And I feel like Aston Villa will not budge. I mean, if Aston Villa rejected a loan move for Emi Martinez because they were adamant that he's not going anywhere, I think they're going to stand on business with Ollie Watkins. If only John Murto did this much work. Why is there a basketball in the right? Because I like basketball. Alhamdulillah. Because I like basketball, my friend. I keep saying I'm going to do basketball content, but it's already hard doing football content consistently. I don't think I could do gaming and basketball content as well. Oh, I keep thinking I'm about to sneeze. Didn't Leipzig sign Xavi Simons for high fees? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. You lot are crazy. Like, this is the thing. You don't want Ollie Watkins. And by the way, I'm not saying that Ollie Watkins is the same as Vardy, right? But you guys are putting out names like Jamie Vardy, who is like 50 years old. No disrespect. He's still a he's one of, I think, the most under-respected strikers of the Premier League era. I will say that for sure. There's certain strikers that don't even sniff or lace Jamie Vardy's boots. Yeah? But with saying that, there is no way on God's green earth you lot watched him last season and think, yeah, that's the striker that United need. There's no way. There's no way. I think when people talk about Dominic Calvert-Lewin like that, and there's people actually genuinely entertaining those conversations, I actually think when I'm hearing Dominic Calvert-Lewin and I'm hearing Jamie Vardy, I think you lot are living in 2017. You lot are living in 2017, life pre-COVID, when it cost £1 for me to buy a can of Red Bull. Do you know how much Red Bull costs now, guys? It's £1.65, and it's only going to get more expensive. I used to buy 2 cans of Red Bull for £2. I'll be lucky if I could get 2 for the same price now. If you told me in May we'd get Cunha and Mbuma, I'd be more than happy with Watkins. We shouldn't forget how bad we actually were. Here you go. Riley. How is Riley the Man United dog speaking more sense than the rest of you guys in the chat? A dog is speaking more sense than you guys. I actually agree with this. That's the only reason why I don't mind the idea of Ollie Watkins is because Man United have Mbuma and Cunha. I do think that we will probably have to go on and buy a striker in a couple of seasons afterwards. But I'm also hoping that by then the striker market is way more attractive than what we've seen right now. Because let's be honest, outside of the big names that Man United are probably never going to get their hands on, you know, Alexander Isak, etc. And then you've got people like Haaland, you got people like Lewandowski, you got people like Harry Kane. Outside of that, the striker market ain't that exciting this season. It's not that exciting. So if Man United could get, and this is me giving you lot my full opinion, people keep saying, Mina, what's your opinion? What's your opinion? What's your opinion? My opinion is if Man United can get Ollie Watkins for 45 million on a 4-year deal, I'm not against it. I'm not against it. And I think the big factor is Mbeumo and Cunha being in the team. I don't think Benjamin Sesko is worth his price tag. But then with saying that, I don't think a lot of strikers are worth the price tag that they've been going for in the last number of years. And equally, that is applicable to some of the players that Manchester United have brought themselves. Is there anyone that, by the way, that wants to see Højlund as the main striker this season? Is there anyone that is not against it? Because who watched the preseason game on Sunday night? Was it Sunday night or Saturday night? Saturday night. Who watched the preseason game against who are we playing? West Ham. Because if I didn't watch the game, I watched the game. And if I didn't watch the game and I just went off of what I saw online, I would have thought the guy scored a hat-trick and then some. I would have thought the guy had an amazing game. outside of the one chance that he had in the opening minute where he absolutely smashed it and it hit the bar, it hit the post. I don't think he did anything else. I don't think he ran the channels. I don't think he had hold up play. And yeah, I was actually judging myself because I thought, I thought I watched a different game to everybody else because I was thinking everyone's talking about hold up play and passing, running the channels. I barely saw that. I barely saw that. What I did see was actually not much involvement from him. I actually didn't see that much involvement from him. Now, there is someone in the chat saying that they wouldn't mind Hoyland as the... Alright, here you go. I'll take Hoyland as a main striker. I think if you have Hoyland as your number one striker, I think you're playing with one less man. So you got 9 outfield players. I don't know, it's preseason, people love gassing him. Not just him, by the way. It's just, can I just say with preseason, yeah, the whole point of preseason, I think people forget it, yeah. The whole point of preseason tends to be fitness. It's match fitness. That's it. So when you see the good football, that's a plus. But when I see people losing their minds over preseason, you can have the best preseason and have a crap football season. You can have a bang average preseason and have a great preseason. It's not really straight linked to each other. Do you get it? It's not the same. It doesn't mean if you have a good preseason, you're gonna have a good season, etc. As long as I think players don't get injured, for me, it's preseason a win. It's a win regardless. I wouldn't dwell too much on the results. People were speaking about energy. They were speaking about, how Man United were pressing, etc. Nobody is treating a preseason game like it's a Prem game. So the intensity of a Prem game will be completely different to preseason. It'll be completely different. I'd rather have Zerk start, but I don't mind both of them being in the squad. Whoever plays better gets in. But we still need a new striker regardless if we keep both of them. Let me see what else you lot are going to say. I was saying in the chat, I would rather us sign a first, second choice striker rather than panic buy. If we can't get our target, just play Hoyland Xerxes for this season. That's true. I get that part where you don't really necessarily want to do a panic purchase. I don't know if we would really class Ollie Watkins as being a panic buy. I don't really think, or even Sesko. I'm just surprised with that price tag for Sesko that people genuinely want Man United to spend 80 to 90 million euros potentially on a potential again. We paid slightly more, obviously, for Rasmus Højlund. Some updates on outgoings. Toby Collier is set to leave Manchester United on loan this summer. Sources say Collier has to go on loan for the benefit of his development, and United are planning to okay a move, despite Collier's determination to challenge for a place. Is it safe to say his career at United's over? I feel like once you get stuck into the loan system, you're not necessarily going to come back to the team. And you could say that's contradictory because Ahmad got into the loan system and came back to Manchester United. But I think when it comes to the midfield and how many players Manchester United have in the midfield, I just don't think so. And by the way, I was a big fan of Toby Collier, and I still think I'm still keen on him, but I also think he's not, like, I'm still trying to figure out, by the way, where the hell Maino goes in Amorim's system. I ain't got time to try to figure out where Collier goes as well. It might have to be the last man standing. And the last man standing in this case really might be Kobbie Mainoo. On the topic of the last man standing, this guy might be the last man standing in terms of what are they calling them? The bomb squad. The players that are trying to leave or meant to leave Manchester United and are not going anywhere anytime soon. This is the bomb squad. Fabrizio Romano confirming that Chelsea want Alejandro Garnacho and Xavi Simons. There is a possibility they sign both this summer, and the priority at the moment remains Xavi Simons. I have a weird feeling that Garnacho is not going anywhere, guys. I think I said this on stream the other day as well. I have a weird, unusual feeling he ain't going to go anywhere, because I think one thing that United will not do, I feel like, again, this is bad to say, I do think that Garnacho being valued at 70 million, or United seeing potentially what he's not on a huge contract. He's not on a huge salary. Man United might get more for him if they reincorporate him into the squad. And that's a reason why I don't think United will want to budge number one. Number two, he's making it difficult because he only wants the Premier League. Back in January, I don't know if you guys remember, but it was reported that in January, Napoli were ready to pay 50 million euros for him. And United were actually considering to accept it. And he asked United to reject it because he didn't want to go to Napoli. And the joke's on you, my friend, because Napoli won the league. But he wants to stay in the Premier League. And I look around the Premier League and I think the only reason why I want him to go to Chelsea is to piss off Chelsea fans. I know quite a few Chelsea fans. And they, you know, when you mention Garnacho, I don't know what it is. It's like their blood boils. But in my head, and I always say this to my friends as well who are Chelsea fans, Garnacho is not a bad player. Yeah, he's slightly frustrating. He needs a little bit of grounding in terms of like humbling. He needs to keep his feet on the floor a little bit. But if you create that environment for him where you don't take any, excuse my language, bullshit from him, you could create a 20-goal contribution player or 25-goal contribution player. But that's all if. Now, you look around the Premier League, and this is why I think he's limiting himself. There's not many teams right now that need a Garnacho, number one. Number two, there's not many teams that got 70 million to spend on a Garnacho. You look at Sunderland, who, by the way, are having a stupendous transfer window. Yeah, I'm so impressed with some of the players that Sunderland have brought in. But even they wouldn't have 70 million to spend on Garnacho. A lot of the newly promoted teams, nobody outside of the top six have 60 million, 70 million to spend. He's awful, Minna. We just don't know what a good attacker looks like. So you think his contribution is somewhat positive. What? Sunderland are going for Amin Adli? Shut up. Are you being serious? Are you being serious that they're actually going for him? They were trying to go for Mikatadze, I remember. But then Lyon's relegation got turned around. But obviously they brought in Habib Diarra. They bringing in Xhaka. Like, I actually have Sunderland. They might stay up. This is a humbling. I agree. This is slightly a humbling for Garnacho because maybe, but also I will say this as well. Amorim is not what's the word? He's not guilty in all of this. Like, he equally played a part in this inability of United to shift him. And it's not just him. And the thing is, yeah, I think Garnacho is lucky to end up at Barcelona. And I think he needs to go over to Bilbao and shake the hand of Nico Williams. Because if Nico Williams' deal didn't collapse and Athletic Club didn't go running to La Liga to complain about Barcelona, I don't think Rashford would have ended up at Barcelona. So I think that avenue opened up that chance for him. Number one. Number two, I also don't think I don't think Barcelona were ever going to pay that price tag for Luis Diaz. So that was another thing that opened up that opportunity for him. Rashford could have been like a Garnacho, like a Sancho, like a Anthony, like a Malacia, sitting at home twiddling their fingers. Right now, the Man United team are in America enjoying the sun. They're probably enjoying the nice pizza in Chicago. They're probably enjoying, the food, because I heard the food is great in America. Yeah, they're probably enjoying all of that. They're enjoying the weather. It's low-key a little bit like a holiday / preseason. These guys are in rainy Carrington. They don't even have to report to Carrington all the time, by the way. I think they can choose to train there, or they can just train individually. I think we'll be in a situation where we might not get any of these guys out. And it might be, like Amorim suggested, clubs are going to wait until deadline day and then try to move for them. And Garnacho might find himself going on loan to a team where he was looking down on, because he was linked to Aston Villa a couple of weeks ago, and it was reported that he didn't want to go to Aston Villa because he wanted to go to a bigger club. Aston Villa ain't below you. That's to Garnacho. Let me see what else you lot say. Do you guys think Garnacho will leave? Minna, I think Garnacho has verbally agreed to deal with the club and will move last day of the window, allowing the club to lowball United. Funny Ruben's statement on players leaving, say something. But at that time, if a club do choose to lowball Manchester United, Man United can just say no. Just stay home. You stay at Man United. You train, go play with under 21s in the reserves, and you can stay and wait till the next window. There's a thing in the streets, guys. They say, F around and find out. If a player generally did that, where he's negotiated a deal with a club, he's agreed verbally a deal with a club, and they're going to come and lowball on deadline day, United, I hope, project that. I hope they do. Obviously, that's just speculation, but yeah, if that happens, I do hope that Manchester United do that. Let me see what else you lot are saying. Rashford still isn't registered. Reason why Nico Williams deal failed. Yeah, I think Nico Williams deal failed because there was no reassurance that he would be registered in time. But it looks like they might be able to deregister ter Stegen, because ter Stegen is set to be out for more than 3 months. And by La Liga rules, apparently, if you're out for more than 3 months, you can deregister that player. So I think Barcelona are trying to find a way to deregister ter Stegen, but ter Stegen put out a statement the other day saying he's out for 3 months, not more than 3 months. So Barcelona are trying to find little loopholes. Barcelona is just, you know what's crazy? Barcelona is Man United and Barcelona. When we when we played them in the Europa League, I don't think we're that far off each other in terms of we're like coming back in a rebuild. Both of us coming back in a rebuild. Look how different our trajectories have turned out, despite the fact that I think Barcelona are struggling obviously financially. But I just want to show you like this kit quickly. Will you guys judge me if I get this? I'm a huge Kobe Bryant fan, and they are doing their annual collaboration with Nike, and they're doing it with Black Mamba, which is Kobe Bryant's shoe line that he had with Nike. Will you not judge me if I get this shirt? I'm not getting it because I'm a Barca fan. I'm getting it because I'm a Kobe Bryant fan. And I have so many pairs of Kobe's when I used to play basketball. So many Kobe jerseys. I have Kobe shirts that have this logo on it. And I just feel like it's a one season off. Will you not judge me? I won't wear it on stream. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I don't really come on stream wearing shirts of like big European clubs. I usually wear like historic shirts like Fiorentina and Parma and those kind of shirts. But I really want to get it with 14 Rashford. I can't lie, I can't get it with Rashford. I might just get it like if you look. Listen, if I'm gonna ask someone at Nike if they could get it for me, and if they can't get it for me, shit, I might. If you don't know anywhere I can get a rep. I love Kobe. So do I. Kobe's my GOAT. Anyone that knows me knows Kobe is my GOAT. One thing I will never do though, and I'll never do it, is that I will never wear it. Like, I will wear it off camera, but I wouldn't wear it on stream. Same way I wouldn't wear a Real Madrid shirt. Same way I wouldn't wear. So I have certain teams, but specifically Barca is one team because obviously they slapped us up in the Champions League final twice. Real Madrid, I've always had an attachment to Real Madrid even before Cristiano went, but that was because of the era of like Zidane and Makelele and all of them guys. So I've always liked them. AC Milan, I have some classic AC Milan shirts from the early 2000s, but I don't have anything of recent time. Come on loan to Atleti, Mino. We have a good project. Man, you know what shirt I actually got? I got this shirt randomly. Let me see. I got the 2004, 2005 Atletico kit. This one here. I got this one here, but it's only because it was when back in the day when they used to advertise movies on it. And if you lot don't know the story behind it, obviously, as you can see, it's Spider-Man. And they had it at the Spider-Man premiere at the time. I can't remember who the actor was. I generally can't remember what the actor's name was, but he was the Spider-Man guy. I'm not really a big fan of, by the way, like superhero movies, but I like Spider-Man. That's probably one of the few ones that I actually like because I like to play the game as well. So I got this Atletico shirt, but I'm not a glory hunter. And I actually haven't worn it. I actually have not worn it since I got it. Many of you seen the new set of Japanese anime shirts, some really good ones. I haven't seen the new set. Is there like a new collection out? They're so big. When I went to Thailand and Malaysia, there was so many people that had those Japanese anime Japan shirts on. It was very hard for me to find that actual Japan national shirt, or because everywhere I was going, they had the anime versions. They just only had the anime versions. And whenever I go abroad, I always try to get a shirt of like the country that I'm in, which is why I got a Malaysia shirt. I love when, shout out to anyone from Malaysia in it, because every time I post a video and I'm wearing a Malaysia football shirt of a club, people always get confused in the comments. They're like, what the hell? Why is Mina wearing a Sabah FC shirt. And I'm like, I literally went to Malaysia and I walked into a football shop and I said to me, give me 3 shirts of football clubs that are in Malaysia. And then just give me one of the national team. I might have to check out that collection. I might have to check it out. How many likes did we get to? We're not that far off 100. We are about 12 or so off of 100. Guys, before we wrap it up for the stream, listen, if you don't follow me on Instagram, right here, you see at @MinaFootball. I am in an advert. Yes, I'm in an advert. You might see it on YouTube. You might see it on television. If you're in the UK, you might see it online. You might see it. I don't know where else you might see it, but you might see it in a lot of places. But I am in an advert. The advert dropped about an hour ago. It's on Instagram. So if you go over to my Instagram, you will see. Shout out to Drip Water for getting me involved. I was on an advert with I was probably the only non-famous person on an advert. Shout out to Jason Bell. If you don't know Jason Bell, former NFL player, now NFL presenter on Sky Sports. I was on the advert with him. I was on the advert with Michael Venom Page, aka MVP, UFC fighter. I was on the advert with Spurs Women, so some of the players from Spurs Women, and also a British boxer and a US track athlete. That's all I can remember from the top of my head. So make sure you guys go on my Instagram now, like right now, or when the stream ends. Check out the advert because it's a very cool advert. I'm not gonna lie, I've never done anything like that in my life. Check out my story as well because I posted some stuff from the shoot day with MVP. He was teaching me his signature move. It was not that great, but he also said to the camera, like, yeah, you're better than me. I was like, thank you very much. So go check it out. Go check out the advert on my socials. You guys know what it is. Make sure you hit the like button on this video as well. Tomorrow we'll have a video dropping as well as a live stream, hopefully giving us something to talk about, something positive, maybe a new signing on the horizon, man. I don't know. And I'm going to try to do a video towards next week for Manchester United women because I know a lot of you guys have been asking about some news there. So I'll do a video for that. But make sure you hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe, guys. If there's any breaking news between now and tomorrow, you know I'll be live. If not, I'm out. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Big up to everyone. Peace.